Some of you were at our early events. I think Andy Bowman, you were probably at some of these. Sims, you probably were. I mean, we had like one table like this. There were 7 people at our first event. And trying to talk about this, now granted it wasn't as refined because obviously over time you get more and more comfortable telling a story. But it was like pushing a rock up a hill. 2-day event, the guy on the far left table, this is no lie, slept for 80% of the event.
Was that Sims?
That was not Sims. But something in the last 6 months is really interesting, what's happened. Attention has gone way up. Podcast interviews, joint webinars, co-hosting videos, way up. So our videos and our material and our podcasts have been picked up on all of those outlets. NBC, Fox, iTunes, Audible, iHeartRadio. And I think there's a couple reasons why. One of which is this quote from Buffett that I just came across 2 weeks ago. And he says, should you find yourself in a chronically leaking boat, energy devoted to changing vessels is likely to be more productive than energy devoted to patching leaks. Why has the attention gone so high in the last 6 months? I think because more and more people, and collectively our industry, that could be accounting, that could be tax, that could be financial services, that could be insurance. More and more people, I think, are recognizing that the patches that they are attempting to fix in the vessel they are in are chronic, meaning they're not getting better. Perhaps it's time to change vessels to leverage a different type of opportunity. What does that opportunity look like? This chart represents a survey that was done in 2019. And the blue line is what people said they expect or they are looking for. And the yellow line represents what people feel like they're actually receiving. So you can see the first one there as an example, financial planning. 96% of people say they want it. 70% of people feel like they are getting what they expect. That's a fairly met marketplace, right? Expectation is somewhat meeting demand. You go 2 down, you look at investment management. 95% of people are looking for investment management. Anybody see that number? How many people feel like they're actually receiving investment management advice? Can you see that on the third one down? 88%. So 95% of people are looking for it, 88% of people are satisfied. If you're competing in that vessel, it's a pretty red ocean right there. I was talking with Angie earlier about Core V tax planning software, tax planning IQ, Dominique Molina, certified tax coach. They're tapping into, obviously, that opportunity. You have a bigger variation between what people expect and what people feel like they're actually receiving. But I think stopping there actually misses the bigger picture of what this bar graph represents, which is what? Take a guess.
They want a holistic approach.
They want a holistic approach. Tax planning is one area of opportunity. But let's go down right below that. Non-liquid asset management. You have 87% of people that are looking for it. 5% of people feel like they're actually receiving it. Down at the very bottom there, you have property and casualty insurance. 72% of people are looking for it. Only 2% of people are receiving it. Probably the most dramatic one there, business succession planning, the fifth from the bottom. 80% of people are looking for business succession planning. 1% of people feel like they're receiving it. So my goal over the next 3 days is to convince each of you to become an expert in business planning, long-term care. No, I'm just kidding. What would that be? That would be putting more and more hats on, right? That'd be going against the fact that Jordan struggled in baseball. The point of this is there's massive opportunity if there's a way for us to collectively tap into the unmet needs of each of those areas of expertise. I don't know if this is exciting or if this is really sad, but it's taken 9 years to come up with this slide that's up on the screen right now. 9 years. But what I'm attempting to do in this slide is to tie in all the 3 of those takeaways that I just went through and talk about how it meets that unmet need in the marketplace. The far left, the first takeaway, what was it? Anybody remember?
No hodgepodge.
No hodgepodge. Clients don't want a hodgepodge. You see the client circle on the far left, it's green. Notice there's not half a dozen different bubbles there. That would be the hodgepodge. That would be that wealthy surgeon that I was speaking to who has his CPA, his attorney, his financial advisor, his investment guy. That's a hodgepodge. Notice there's one point of contact for that client. What is it? Not a trick question. What's blue in the blue circle there? Proactive planning team. Client has one point of contact, no hodgepodge, proactive planning team. Now, proactive planning team is made up of what? An advisor, an accountant, an attorney, trading referrals, treating it like baseball cards? No. What was the second takeaway? Cigarettes are bad for you, right? Good accountants, they don't want your tax return referral. What they do want is to build deeper relationships with their best clients and bring more value. Proactive planning team, it's made up of at least an advisor and an accountant coming together to form a team where they can deliver more proactive and holistic planning to their clients. They're not trading off referrals inside this little bubble. They're bringing their clients into their holistic experience. Oftentimes an attorney is part of that team. A business banker is part of that team. And then the third takeaway. What was it? Michael Jordan struggled with baseball. So you notice the proactive planning team doesn't have a dozen bubbles all around it where they're trying to become a jack of all trades. It has one line to the virtual family office. Right? And then within the virtual family office, you have Craig, you have Darren, you have Brandon, you have all of the experts that you're going to hear from over the next 3 days. You leverage their expertise. How long do you think it would take me? I should probably ask this after your presentation, Darren, but how long do you think it would take me to run Elite Resource Team, surf, and become an expert at the same level that Darren has when it comes to premium financing? It's probably not possible, to be honest with you. Partly because, it's me. It's not how I'm wired. It'd be a real challenge with those details. But partly because it's just time, it's bandwidth. It's choosing what sport you want to be exceptional at. So with that increase in attention, there's issues, unexpected consequences. Some issues are negative, some issues are positive. The negative issues, we've seen a significant increase in people, advisors mostly, insurance agents, but some accountants, using our language and using our model with no training. They watch half a dozen YouTube videos that we put out there, and they're going out and claiming they know how to form partnerships and offer proactive and holistic planning. We've seen an increase in pirated material sold on the internet. Somebody joined, downloaded a bunch of videos, downloaded some templates, and then go around, turn around and sell them online. Because the value of what we do is all in the templates. We've seen and heard from others that people have been falsely representing their abilities, right? Trying to wear the badge. I can do this, 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 and this. They tell a good story, but they don't have anything behind it. They got a hold of the talking tool, but they don't actually know what the words mean. And we've had both advisors and accountants that have come to us and said, yeah, I heard from this person on LinkedIn, and they said they were a certified expert in your virtual family office. Oh, really? Because I've never seen that name before in my life. So with the attention comes some issues, and it also comes with some positive unintended consequences. We've had more business owners than at any point in the past reaching out to us, asking us for introductions to advisors and accountants that are working together in a proactive planning team, unsolicited. They saw a video, they said, that totally makes sense. I don't want a hodgepodge. Could you introduce me to somebody? We've had accountants that are reaching out to us, looking for advisors. Hey, I heard about you at CoreV or Andrew Argue's conference. Heard about you on a Facebook group with other accountants. Can you introduce me to somebody? We've had different media opportunities, podcasts, joint webinars, magazines, book forwards or testimonials. And then we've had new members join and think, I love this model. Rather than me trying to create it on my own, is there a team that's already up and running that you could introduce me to? We'll hear from Michael and Justin and Carson, who recently joined forces in that exact same situation. So then there's kind of opportunity, but then there's challenges. So really the question has been, for the last 4 months behind the scenes, how do we protect the integrity of what we're all trying to build here, the team-based model? Some of us are all in, right? Sims, you've changed vessels. This is your vessel. Some of us are in the process of changing vessels. And obviously, anytime you make a change, there's risk and it's scary. There's unpredictable things. You start slowing down before you speed up. But all of us in this room, to one degree or another, are committed to working within this team-based model. So how do we protect the integrity of what we're all trying to collectively build? How do we identify and reward qualified members? And then how do we share in the opportunities? So if I get a podcast request, or Jenna, what's that group that keeps reaching out asking us to speak to them with the CPAs? What is it? Integrity. They have the virtual conference every other week. I mean, we constantly are getting these requests. That doesn't need to be me. Doesn't need to be Ian. How do we share in those opportunities so that idea of a rising tide lifts all ships? So we've been working on something for the last 4 months or so behind the scenes, and it's probably a concept that we've kicked around for 5 or 6 years, that we finally think we have the right coaches to be able to deliver, the right technology to make it actually something legitimate, and the right community to mean we're doing something real. Do I have your attention? Have I built any suspense here? A little bit? So we are launching the Team-Based Model Certified Professional Program. This originally was suggested a number of years ago. I won't name names, but I went to a 2-day conference and I got certified as a tax planner. And all I did is attended a 2-day conference. That's what I didn't want to build. I didn't want to build something or a certification that meant you attended something for 2 days. We wanted to build something that had some integrity behind it. So the Team-Based Model Certified Professional Program. I will start by speaking of the benefits. You'll see hopefully how it weaves into some of the increased opportunities we've had. And then I'll talk about the requirements. So the first one is what we're calling an introduction program. Our sales team has grown since the beginning of the year. We've hired 2 or 3 new people. One of them is phenomenal on the phones. And what he is starting to do is proactively call business owners to see if they're interested in working with a proactive planning team, and call accountants to see if they're interested in partnering with a certified advisor. He's using the scripts, the email templates, the LinkedIn process, the tax season survival kits, everything that we teach the advisors to do. But rather than the advisors doing it or the accountants doing it, why not have our team do it? So that's access to the introduction program. We have our own lists that we've built using LinkedIn Navigator and other sources. And some of you, like I was speaking to Mark and Eric last week, they have their own lists that they've built. Right? Their VA has been working on building a list within a certain area that they're specifically looking at. Do you really want to sit there and make 4 or 5 hours of phone calls a day, Eric? Or do you want to have Seth from our team do it? What do you think? Is that kind of cool? Yeah. Now, why would we hesitate to roll that out before we have kind of a certification program? Yes, of course, we could do this. We could charge per lead. We could charge a growth credit per an hour. But what's the point if all we're doing is working with somebody that hasn't actually taken the time and shown the dedication to communicate the right story. Right? That makes sense. He'll directly have a link to your calendar. He'll schedule the appointments for you on your calendar that will be qualified, and all you do is you show up and you tell the story. Kind of interesting? Kind of interesting. Eric's shaking his head. All right, next. We have a website we've been working on for 4 or 5 months. Brand new EliteRT.com website. It will launch next week. We have no certified professionals yet. The moment we get the first certified professional, they will be added to our website. It'll be the photo, bio, and contact information. So this way in the future, when a business owner schedules a strategy session with James, who is our lead salesperson, and James gets on and he thinks it's somebody interested in the team-based model, and he goes, actually, I'm just a business owner. This is just one literally happened up in LA. He's like, I run a movie studio, but this whole concept of an advisor and a CPA working together, like that's cool. So I was thinking maybe you could introduce me to somebody. So rather than scheduling a strategy session, they can just reach out to us directly, and they can reach out to the certified professional directly and work with them. Different growth opportunities. So like the media opportunities I referenced a minute ago. Unsolicited inquiries, where accountants are reaching out because of the conference they attended. Or newer advisors or accountants are joining and asking, rather than doing this on my own, is there a team that you'd suggest I join? Yeah, absolutely. We have a certified professional program. And then the last one is community recognition. So a digital badge on the school profile, name badge recognition at events, and physical awards at events that can be displayed, of course, in your office or in your Zoom background, whatever it is. The future of this program, ideally, but we won't launch it with this, will include CE credits or CPE credits, depending on your designation. So what are the requirements? The process: complete the base training program and the readiness assessment. I'm going to go through these in more detail on the next slide. Complete the 12-month membership success program, and then receive a nomination from your relationship coach. So the first one is the base training. So for the advisors, that's Catalyst. You go through Catalyst. As you're completing Catalyst, you use the readiness assessment. Just launched that 3 weeks ago. It's on the Proactive Planning platform. We built it from scratch. But what it does is it actually validates that somebody's paying attention and going through the training. So that's the readiness assessment. That's live in Catalyst in Module 2. For the accountants in the room, you complete the accountant training program. How much does the accountant training program cost? Zero. It's included in the Forward Accounting community. So you go through the accountant training program and you complete the partnership readiness assessment. Very similar concept as the advisor readiness assessment. It's just the two of you are going through it together. And it helps solidify the base of that relationship. The second, the 12-month success program. So when a new member joins now, whether it's Catalyst or it's the accounting program, Accountant Plus or Advanced, they get assigned a relationship coach. Right now, that's either Emily Freitas or Ian Wellham. As you're going through the 12 months, you have 6 meetings built into the cost of the training. You meet with your relationship coach 6 times a year, every other month essentially, and they help you to design and implement a growth plan. Now, most of you in this room, that's kind of irrelevant because you've been working with us for more than 12 months. So alternatively, you can do the implementation pathway, which is 90 days. I know I've probably met with a dozen people or so in this room on the implementation pathway. You and I meet one-on-one. We spend an hour together putting together your priorities for the next 90 days. You and Ian meet every other week. And then at the end of the 90 days, Ian, yourself, and I would meet, look at the progress made, and decide where it goes from there. That's the implementation pathway. So either the success program or the implementation pathway. And that's really the only way that the relationship coach then actually gets to form the relationship with you to make the basis of a recommendation. So that's the third part. Relationship coach, which could be Ian Wellham, it could be Emily Freitas, actually submits to the elite executive team a nomination to become certified, makes an argument on your behalf, we approve it, and then we announce it in the communities as well as recognized at the EGA. So that is the team-based model certified professional program. Michael, then Eric.
Once you're achieved the team-based model certification and you're an advisor in that, we create a hazing ritual.
I had a 50-50 chance on Michael going one way or the other.
Interacting with Sims.
Yeah, yeah.
You're making the assumption that you would be one of the hazers. What's the cost?
There is no additional cost. Certification is included in the membership. The whole point is for us to, as I said, protect the integrity of what's being built and reward the advisors and the accountants that are actually taking it seriously.
Fusion and Catalyst?
Yes, any of the levels could qualify to be certified. Yep. Now, only Fusion members or accountants working with Fusion members or advanced accountants can participate in the introduction program. So if you want our team to call business owners or to call accountants and schedule on your calendar, that's a benefit of being in Fusion. Yep. And there won't be a cost per lead. It won't be like an additional monthly or anything. The way we're looking at designing that is through growth credits, and essentially he will call for as many hours as you want. If we need, we have overflow in terms of the team, and it'll be 1 growth credit an hour calling. Any other questions? What do you guys think of that? What do you think of this concept? You like it? I even see a couple accountants clapping there. Very good. All right, so, yeah, Lee.
I was just going to make a comment back on the slide where you had the percentages of
Yep.
services, and then Carson made the comment about people really want the comprehensive.
Yep.
Thought that popped in my mind, is it safe to say that we are just in the early adopter stage, if you will, of that concept? Like, people aren't even really aware that this is even available, for the most part.
I think what you have is an attempt to tap into the unmet need, which is there, by people positioning their value proposition in a more holistic and comprehensive nature. And it's probably true, they are more than the average. But compared to a true either virtual family office, a multidisciplinary firm, a true family office, it's apples and oranges. Does that make sense? Like, you'll meet investment advisors that say they give tax advice, but really the tax advice they give is like when to buy or sell a specific holding. And it's playing on a degree of that, but it's certainly not that. So yes, I think it's very early days of understanding what true comprehensive and proactive experience looks like.
So the certification kind of really, again, as you said, protect the integrity, but also helps set us apart even further.
Yeah, that's the hope, right? I mean, the hope of the concept of a team-based model certification, look, it's not elite certification, it's something that we're all collectively working on and defining what it means as it goes. Because that's what happens as industries shift and new opportunities and marketplaces become available. We define what it means. Does that make sense? It's like how many downs are in football? I'm not a big football guy, but Ryan, you tell me, how many downs are there in football? 4 downs. Why? Who made that rule? We don't know, right? But if you showed up at a football game and you got angry because you wanted there to be 3 downs or 5 downs, it'd be like, that's the rule of the game. There is no set downs right now in this environment. We are creating the rules right now. So hopefully, our vision would be the team-based model certification actually means something, and we're kind of pioneers of addressing this unmet marketplace. Does that make sense? Make sense? Yeah, Mark.
Thanks, Anton. Can you tell me, was this survey conducted
Was this survey conducted as a broad cross-section of the population in general? Because we can't see the footnotes. It's a little blurry.
I can share the link to it. I believe it was, but I don't know. Yep. You're welcome.
Catalyst training.
Yes. I kind of latch onto things if you haven't noticed. I try to use very similar language and very similar things over and over and over. It's kind of that concept of communicate by a factor of 10. Because if you think people get it after the first or second, it's usually 7, 8, 9, or 10 where it starts sinking in. At least that's how it is for me. One more from Pavan, and then I think we'll shift to Darren.
So if we already have a virtual assistant or something like that, when your this introduction person is doing the call, is it possible for them to be shadowing and learn alongside?
Yeah, we could probably do something like that. There'll certainly be recorded calls because we'll do that for training. Yeah, absolutely. All right, thank you very much. Really excited to have you guys here.